A billionaire rewrote the rules of power without ever running for office. He controls algorithms, governments trust his machines, and his ideas are quietly reshaping America. This isn't conspiracy. This is the new reality. America remembers its presidents, its wars, its victories, its failures, but it rarely remembers the people behind the curtain. Those who never stand in front of a microphone, never win elections, yet influence everything. In a world run by institutions, democracies, and political systems, there exists a man who decided none of these were enough. A man who believed the system was broken, and that he alone had the mind, the resources, and the vision to fix it. Some call him a genius. Some call him dangerous. Some whisper that he is the architect of a new American oligarchy. This is his story, but it's also the story of a country that didn't realize. A single brilliant, relentless man was learning how to control it, piece by piece, not through elections, not through protests, not through armies, but through ideas, through money, through the invisible architecture of the modern world. This is the story of Peter Thiel, and the blueprint of power he spent decades constructing, a blueprint that is finally beginning to show its true purpose. Every dynasty begins somewhere. For Peter Thiel, it begins in a small coastal town where the desert meets the sea, a place of sandstorms, rigid hierarchy, and a world divided cleanly into rulers and the ruled. As a boy, Peter watches his father navigate society where power belongs to the few, while the many accept their place. In school, he notices something adults don't. Certain children are allowed to speak loudly. Others are punished for raising their voice. Some ideas are welcomed. Others are crushed. Through silence, Peter Thiel learns his first rule of power. The world isn't fair. The world is structured. And those who understand the structure can manipulate it. He studies obsessively. He reads philosophy, chess strategy, political theory. He develops a talent that will follow him for life. He sees patterns other people miss. He plans 7 steps ahead. He watches quietly, waiting, calculating, predicting. He doesn't want popularity. He wants control. And the world will soon learn just how dangerous that combination is. When Peter arrives at Stanford University, he expects a sanctuary of intelligence. Instead, he finds chaos. Students partying, political debates boiling, movements rising, ideas colliding. Most people see a campus. He sees a battleground of ideology. While others attend rallies, Peter studies them like a scientist. While others express outrage, he analyzes emotions like data points. He begins forming a belief, not sudden but sharp, cold, mathematical. Democracy is too chaotic, too emotional, too slow. He starts gathering people like him, thinkers, strategists, outsiders, misfits with sharp minds and sharp ambition. They form a circle, small, dedicated, almost secretive. Their conversations drift from philosophy to economics, to a question most people would never dare verbalize. What if the world is better run by the smartest, not the most popular? This is where his second rule of power forms. Do not fight the mob. Outsmart it. Years later, this rule will define Silicon Valley and American politics. Peter Thiel believes he is destined for elite power, Supreme Court clerkship, legal influence, prestige. He applies, he interviews, he waits, and then he is rejected. Twice. To others, it's a simple career setback. To Peter Thiel, it's a revelation. The system is rigged. It rewards conformity, not brilliance. He burns with quiet anger, not emotional anger, strategic anger. He decides he doesn't want approval anymore. He wants leverage. He doesn't want the system's blessing. He wants its weaknesses. And this is when his third rule of power is born. If the door doesn't open, build your own building. This failure becomes a fuel for everything to come. PayPal, Palantir, political networks, billion-dollar influence, a seat in the shadows of the White House, a blueprint to reshape America itself. All of it begins here, with a door slammed in his face. In Silicon Valley, Peter finds his true battlefield, a frontier with no rules and no gatekeepers. He meets young founders. He observes emerging technologies. He sees chaos again, but this time, chaos he can exploit. Then comes a meeting that changes everything. A brilliant coder obsessed with encryption, Max Levchin. Max talks about secure networks, personal devices, digital money. To most people, it sounds like science fiction. To Peter Thiel, it sounds like destiny. PayPal is born, but to Peter, PayPal is not merely a product. It's an experiment, a test run, a simulation of something far larger. He studies user behavior, fraud patterns, economic flows, human psychology in the digital world. He sees how money moves. He sees how people trust machines more than governments. He sees how identities can be built, hidden, manipulated. PayPal becomes a new kind of power: digital power, invisible power, predictive power. And behind the scenes, Peter Thiel is taking notes, learning, analyzing, building a framework that would one day become one of the most powerful surveillance tools in the world. But before that, he learned something else from PayPal. Competition is inefficient. Monopolies are elegant. And so emerges his most infamous rule: competition is for losers. Not because competitors lose, but because they're forced to obey the rules. Peter Thiel doesn't obey rules. He rewrites them. The world changes on a single morning. September 11, 2001. Fear floods the country. Governments panic. Intelligence agencies scramble. New powers are granted overnight. And Peter Thiel watches. He sees opportunity where others see crisis. He sees a world terrified of the unknown, and a government desperate for tools to predict threats before they happen. He remembers PayPal's algorithms. He remembers Max Levchin's early work. He remembers patterns, data, signals, and a new idea forms. What if you could predict human behavior with data? Before it happens, he begins sketching plans, models, systems, not for a consumer company, but for something far more powerful, a machine that governments would fear and depend on, a system that could see what humans could not. PALANTIR, named after the all-seeing stones from Tolkien, the device kings used to spy on enemies, and that corrupted those who relied on it. PALANTIR is built in secret, sold to intelligence agencies quietly, adopted by militaries quietly, integrated into law enforcement quietly. No debates, no votes, no public hearings, just contracts, silent, permanent, immense. The world does not realize it yet, but this is the birth of algorithmic governance, the birth of a new kind of state, a state where the most powerful institution is not Congress or the presidency, but a private data empire owned by one man. Peter Thiel's wealth grows. His companies expand. His influence deepens. But something inside him is shifting. He begins writing essays. Not business essays, ideological ones. Arguments, declarations, warnings. He quietly states, "I no longer believe freedom and democracy are compatible." To the world, this is shocking. To Peter Thiel, it is simply logical. Democracy is slow, emotional, unpredictable. Innovation is fast, mathematical, ruthless. He starts gathering people who share his worldview. Libertarians, futurists, techno-capitalists, political outsiders, billionaires who feel constrained by society. A new circle forms, a new network, a new machine, not a political party, but something far more influential. A decentralized empire of wealthy thinkers who believe they know how the world should work and how to take control of it. This is no longer about companies. It's about ideology. It's about shaping the world. Quietly, strategically, irreversibly. Every empire sends a warning. Peter Thiel sends is in the form of a lawsuit, not one he personally files, but one he secretly funds, against a media company, against journalists who mocked him, against an institution he considered dangerous. He works in silence, funds in silence, plans in silence, until the moment arrives. The verdict drops. Gawker collapses. Journalists are stunned. Observers are terrified. And Peter Thiel issues a message that echoes across America. If you attack me, I will destroy you. If you underestimate me, I will crush you. Silicon Valley takes notice. Politicians take notice. Journalists take notice. This is the moment the world realizes. Peter Thiel is not a businessman. He is an operator, a strategist, a builder of power, and the game is just beginning. When Peter Thiel steps into national politics, he does not enter quietly. He becomes a kingmaker. He picks candidates, funds movements, shapes narratives. He backs long-shot outsiders, not because they can win, but because they can disrupt. And then comes a candidate he sees potential in, a man unpredictable, chaotic, anti-institution, willing to break norms, willing to challenge democracy itself. Donald Trump. Others laugh. Thiel doesn't. Others panic. Thiel calculates. Others underestimate. Thiel prepares. When Trump wins, Peter Thiel walks into the White House the way a chess player approaches the final stage of a match, with full awareness that every piece is exactly where he wants it. He begins placing allies in key positions, reshaping agencies, influencing regulations, helping design a future where tech giants, not government, hold the real power. But while the public debates politics, Peter Thiel is building something far more dangerous, a private empire integrated into the United States government, a data empire, a surveillance empire, a predictive empire. And behind every decision, every contract, every policy shift is one question: what is Peter Thiel's endgame? The answer is coming, but not yet. For now, America does not realize that one man has quietly begun rewriting the architecture of modern power. While Palantir expanded like a digital empire, Thiel began building something else: political influence, a different kind of influence, not through crowds, not through rallies, not through promises, but through candidates. The Thiel pipeline. One by one, Thiel began supporting individuals who shared fragments of his vision, a world where technologists decide the future, not politicians. Intelligence and capital rule above popularity. Elite thinkers shape policy, not party loyalty. He did not want puppets. He wanted believers. His investments in politics weren't random. They were strategic, deliberate, and long-term. While billionaires funded campaigns for business favors or tax breaks, Thiel funded ideas. Ideas that challenged democracy itself. The PayPal Mafia reborn. At the same time, his old circle, the PayPal Mafia, had become an army of billionaires. Elon Musk, Reid Hoffman, Max Levchin, David Sachs. Some agreed with him, some opposed him, some feared him, but all of them respected him. Thiel didn't want to be the richest person in the room. He wanted to be the one who understood the room, the one whose vision survived long after everyone else retired. And while other billionaires fought for attention, Thiel fought for legacy. By the 2020s, Peter Thiel's blueprint was no longer a theory. It was a network of data systems, intelligence tools, political allies, tech billionaires, ideological movements, global investments, all orbiting around one belief: democracy is too slow for the future that's coming. And every year, that future moved closer. AI, automation, global conflict, economic collapse, political division. To Thiel, these weren't threats. They were opportunities. Opportunities to reshape America before America understood it was being reshaped. And that's what made him different from every billionaire before him. Jeff Bezos built an empire of products. Elon Musk built an empire of machines. Mark Zuckerberg built an empire of people. But Peter Thiel, he built an empire of ideas. Ideas powerful enough to outlive any empire. Some say Peter Thiel is the warning of a new age. A man who wants the smartest to rule. A man who challenges the foundation of democratic power. A man who uses technology the way kings once used armies. Others call him a visionary, trying to save a world spinning out of control. But both sides agree on one thing. He is not done. His blueprint is still unfolding. His influence is still expanding. And his ideas are quietly shaping the country in ways no election ever could. The question now is not, who is Peter Thiel? The question is, how much of America will be built on his ideas? And when the future finally arrives, a future of AI governments, algorithmic decisions, and elite-driven systems, will it be the world he predicted or the world he created? Only history will decide. But one thing is certain. Peter Thiel has already changed America before most Americans even realized he was there.